Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you. This is a new presentation from www.central-mosque.com and from the Humble Heart YouTube channel. The topic today is how to be a halal detective. This presentation is about halal and haram, and if you live in any non-Muslim country, in my opinion, it is very important for you to come to understand the concept of halal and how to consume it. Therefore, I strongly advise you to watch this presentation all the way to the end. The first question is, why should you consume halal? Why is it important? You can Google and read plenty of articles on the topic, but the summary is that if you don't consume halal, your mindset is affected and altered. Simple, basic concepts of Islam do not make sense to you and do not, importantly, appeal to your heart. In very quick time, your lifestyle begins to change and you become distant from Allah Ta'ala and His religion. So you need to be absolutely careful about consuming halal. Secondly, if you don't consume halal, then your prayers go unanswered. When you have difficulties in life and make dua, they don't get accepted. I'm describing a general rule. And of course, it is up to the mercy of Allah Ta'ala to accept whatever prayers Allah Ta'ala wishes. The next question becomes, what is halal? Again, you can Google and read up on this topic, but in a nutshell, it is your income plus what you consume. Many people mistakenly think of halal only in terms of food and not in terms of income. I have friends who own halal restaurants, and on Friday nights, stone drunk Muslims walk into the restaurant with a can of beer in their hands and ask, "Is your burger halal?" I know brothers who serve alcohol in their businesses but they're very super careful about buying halal certified meat. Don't get me wrong. It's good that they're trying to consume halal, but earning halal is also required. Many brothers know what they're earning is haram or via impermissible means and get disheartened, but do not. Allah's mercy is vast, and if you know that your income is via haram means or have doubts, consult ulama or scholars. And in many cases, you have some leeway to continue your present job or business until you find an alternative. All I'm asking you to do is consult scholars and follow their advice, inshallah. The next question then becomes, is halal the only requirement in Islam? The answer is the Quran tells Muslims in chapter 2, verse number 168 to eat halal and tayyib. We have already covered halal, but tayyib means wholesome or good. So just because something is halal, it doesn't mean that you have to eat it or keep on eating it again and again and again. It means keep away from junk food, even when junk food is obviously halal. Now let's switch tracks and talk about issues which could affect your marriage. So many brothers and sisters, they look for a practicing partner, alhamdulillah, which is a good thing, and check that the person follows the sunnah and prays and covers, has a beard, etc. However, and unfortunately in the West, you have many practicing Muslims who consume supermarket meat, which is non-dhabiha or meat of the Ahlul-Kitab, people of the book. I also know Muslim couples who make a deal when they're marrying that, look, in their house, I want to consume dhabiha. I can tell you right now that it doesn't work many times, because in a few years, the kids are consuming non-dhabiha meat because one party doesn't think it is haram. So why should they stop the kids? So they say, look, I'm part of the deal. When I'm cooking in home or whatever, I only buy dhabiha meat. These kind of deals don't work. So when you're checking for a potential spouse for marriage, and if you do not consume non-dhabiha meat, and you should not, by the way, the link is in the description where I have a very detailed article on the topic. Someday I'll do a video on this. And you consume dhabiha meat and he or she does not, I'm letting you know right now that making a deal that non-dhabiha in the house may not work. Also, be very careful about checking halal ingredients. You may be careful about checking them, or he or she may be completely, oblivious to it or blasé, non-careful. That also does not work. Once again, this could potentially cause problems in your relationship. So, my young brother or my young sister, if you're looking for a husband or looking for a wife, please look into this. Look into this whether, if you're in the West, whether the other party or their house or their family consumes, number one, dhabiha meat. Number two, how careful are they about the ingredients, because this could affect your relationship. Next, you could be a healthy eater, and he or she could be in his or her greasy traditional food. Trust me, you're not going to be able to sustain a relationship long terms if your wife or husband is on a completely different food style, person, or diet. This has nothing to do with halal, it has more to do with tayyib, wholesome food. Either you will gain a lot of weight, become unhealthy, miserable, and unhappy, or he or she will have to change. So consider the dietary requirements before marrying too. Once again, my young brother or sister, whoever you are checking, whether this person covers, wears a hijab, wears a niqab, has a beard, has praise, etc. Consider all of these things, because food is something that happens on a daily basis, multiple times a day. Now let's get back to the topic. First thing that you need to understand is that geography, or where you live, is the most important factor when you're looking for halal and haram. The same exact Kit Kat chocolate manufactured in Australia may have different set of ingredients compared to the one manufactured in United States or Canada, etc. Let me give you an example. In one of the WhatsApp groups, a brother from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, asked about Kit Kat. Locally, he bought Kit Kat in Saudi Arabia and quoted an article from Nestle, Australia. I asked him to send a picture from the back, and the chocolate was made in New Jersey, America. If I think somewhere in America, I think it was New Jersey. Educated and professional brother, so I asked him, why would you read the ingredients or guidelines of Nestle, Australia, and apply to a chocolate bar made in New Jersey, America? So he kept on arguing. After arguing for days on end, I made him check with Nestle America, and sure enough, the ingredients were different. That was many years ago, but I wanted to quote this as an example. Don't get hung up and start Googling Kit Kat Australia versus Kit Kat America or something like that. But I wanted to give you, I can give you many examples over many years. So you need to check the exact country in which something is manufactured. Next thing you need to understand is that the ratio of scholars to people asking is 1 to hundreds. So when you ask the question, is this chocolate halal or whatever, it may take days for the respected scholar to get back to you. So in my opinion, asking, is this chocolate halal or whatever you're asking about, is the wrong question, and unnecessarily burdening ulama, Islamic groups, or organizations. You need to do things better and do all the groundwork yourself, and it is not very difficult. So how should you become a halal detective? Rule number one. First of all, stop believing WhatsApp. Unless the message has a source which is well-known Islamic site and the date is current, ignore stupid messages. Kellogg's cereals in United Arab Emirates found to contain pork articles, and you're living in Leicester, United Kingdom, and going crazy and bothering hundreds of people with WhatsApp is, well, in polite words, stupid. Your UK Kellogg cereal bought from a UK grocery store in Leicester, UK clearly states suitable for vegetarians, so what are you losing your mind over? Next, do your research, and we will teach you how to do that. You may notice that many times your research will answer most of your queries. Then consult the ulama for guidance by providing them with the answers or details which you have already received. So how do you do research, or how do you check a product? Example. The most common grocery store in UK is Asda. In US and Canada, it could be Walmart. Until about 6 months ago, it used to be the same company, but it doesn't really matter, whatever the grocery store is called in your country. Imagine that you want to buy this Asda milk chocolate brand, or in your country, whatever the grocery store is called. All you need to do is call the store manager with the bar of the chocolate in your hand and ask for a list of ingredients. Many times they will ask you to call a phone number or send an email. In that case, take a picture of the product and the back with the barcode and send an email. This is what you need to say. I follow a Muslim diet and would like to obtain a full list of ingredients for Asda milk chocolate, barcode 3400007755. Thanks. If it's a phone number they've given you, then you need to say this on the phone. Now, Many Muslim groups give you instructions on how to construct an email like that. Some say I follow a vegan diet, I am a vegetarian. Some say I'm a lacto whatever diet, right? Doesn't matter. This bit doesn't matter. You can say I'm a Muslim, vegetarian, whatever. The next bit is the important. That's all you're doing. Whether you're on a phone call or talking to a store manager or or whatever you're doing, that's it. List the item with the barcode of the store that you're shopping at. I am assuming here, look, Asda, Walmart, Walmart brand, or whatever. I'm talking about how to do that in a grocery store which has its own brand. Next, imagine that the product is not made by the grocery store. So in that case, you will need to contact the manufacturer. In our example, we want to know about this Kit Kat bar, and it is made by Nestle. So guess what? Once again, you will need to contact Nestle America if you're in America, Nestle Canada if you're living in Canada or wherever you happen to be. You may think that this concept is so simple, so why am I repeating it? Trust me, I can tell you after years of interacting with Muslims, they just simply cannot grasp the fact that if you live in Leicester, United Kingdom, you don't need to worry about a product sold in UAE and it's completely irrelevant to you in most cases, and you don't need to lose your mind over this at all. If you do not find the information on the website after Googling, then email the company or have the phone number. And I gave you the example. All you're doing is, hi, I'm on a Muslim diet or I'm on a vegetarian diet. I would like to know Kit Kat that you manufacture, barcode number, blah, 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 blah. Here's a picture, front and back attached in this email. Can you list all the ingredients that are contained in this product? That's it. There's no rocket science to it whatsoever. Now, it doesn't matter what the product is. I've given you an example of Kit Kat. It could be your medication. The doctor's prescribed you medication. You go to the pharmacist or the chemist or the drugstore, get a picture of that, or ask the pharmacist, write down this drug, or ask the pharmacist, can you tell me the ingredients? A lot of times, I've done that on my website many times. That information's already available to you. But imagine if it isn't, same thing. You will send an email or call Pfizer or Smith Klein or whoever, Glaxo, and ask the same question. Now you can consult ulama with all the information that you have. If you're not doing this, you're simply being lazy, transferring your responsibility to the ulama and volunteers who have their own families and doing work very often free of charge, and it isn't fair on them. Allah Ta'ala will question you about burdening people unnecessarily. Let me repeat. Allah Ta'ala will question you about burdening people unnecessarily. If you cannot get this information, then by all means say that I've tried calling, emailing, and not received an answer, so can you help me? And appreciate the work and effort of not only the ulama, but the volunteers who help you in these groups or Islamic sites or whatever. Last topic, when is it necessary for you to consult ulama and with what kind of information? So one is obviously you come across an ingredient that you have no idea about. So you have done your research and you said, dear Sheikh, dear Maulana, dear Mufti, in the Kit Kat chocolate, there's an ingredient called this. Is it halal, is haram? I have no idea. I Googled it, but I don't understand it. Fair question. You've done the research. Next scenario. Before I tell you the second case, let me reiterate that this example is for UK, does not apply to Americans or Canadians or Australian Muslims at all. During Ramadan, many Muslim families make these samosas. The shell is made from puff pastry, and the best brand in UK is Just Roll, which makes two products. The frozen product here contains no animal ingredients and no alcohol. The chilled product has alcohol in it. Some ulama permit it, some don't. The simplest solution, obviously, is to use the frozen puff pastry, which contains no alcohol. But I don't eat samosas and stuff, so for some technical reason, frozens are not suitable, so you need to consult the ulama and pose the question. The question will be, I have a life and death emergency. I need to use this chilled Just Roll pastry brand which contains ethanol. I cannot live without samosas, and there's a difference of opinion on ethanol. Can I use it? Advise me. Once again, before closing this presentation, this example applies to United Kingdom and not to Canadians, Americans, or Australians. I just wanted to point this out. You have done your research, you have got everything, and now you can pose the questions to the ulama or the groups. Appreciate their work, and may Allah reward every single person who is working hard to make sure that you eat halal. I hope that you found this presentation useful. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.